Did Fred give them a That's the way the old people do it.
Church when we were associated. Of course, my memories get
Get over there, and then she can go over. Her and Ollie are gonna be over
Everybody find
Hug him again, so we can get it on camera. Hug him again. Big hug. There you go. That's great.
here.
partner in crime.
A butch.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's hard. We have these senior moments, don't we?
Yeah, I do that all the time.
We'll be making love under the boardwalk. Boardwalk.
Not after. Not after we've been that long.
People from Paoli that lives here, I'm sure we all welcome you back home. Thank you.
Nancy Odell, teacher here at the school.
Andy Taft, it's time to get the ball rolling for this. All right, he caught the ball, ready to go. Here's Jim.
Okay, they're gonna take all the drink orders and everything first. And then, once they get the drink orders, the food line will be open. But that's, don't all go up at once though. Sort of spread it out, okay?
Introduce.
Can't hear you, Jim.
Huh? No, I'm not. Connie will lead us in the devotion here.
Thank you, Jim.
Marie. Have you paid Dwayne? You haven't given him any money? No. I've got it.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, I'm so thankful that Jesus Christ came and died for my sins, and anyone in this room that wants to accept Him, He died for them too. And we just pray today, Father, that You'll bless our fellowship together, Father, and pray for each one of these here today, Father, their families. I know in my family there's some that's going to hell, and I'm not doing too much about it, but I just pray that You'd give me that incentive to do something about it. And again, Father, 45 years, it doesn't seem like 45 years, but You've been with us all that time, and You knew us, Father, before we was ever born. And I thank You so much for that. And again, Father, we just ask you this very day, Father, to bless this fellowship together and bless the hands that prepared the food, Father, and let each one of us have a good time in fellowship and in love. And we ask it all in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thing is permissible. We want you to mingle and get to reacquaint ourselves with some dear old friends today. It's sure good to see everybody. Names of the first 25 people who sent back their questionnaire. And by the way, the questionnaires are all in that orange or that purple 3-ring binder over there if you want to take a look. But we're going to draw now to see who's going to win a free lunch today. And I'm trying to think of who would be someone that would be non-biased opinion here that would draw for us. Roger Hogan, come on over here. I'm going to hold this really high. This is Pat Clement's husband, so they win this. And if you will draw a name. Thanks. Let's see who the winner of the free lunch is. Jim Music. Jim Music wins a free lunch today. Congratulations there, Tim. Thanks, Roger.
All right, you're on.
Well, I guess we're just all glad to be here, considering what the alternatives might be, you know. See everybody again and see how we've aged, and kind of like whiskey, maybe we get a little better with age as we go along. But,
What do you think about the turnout then?
very good. I'm really surprised, especially seeing the teachers and the principal and stuff. I remember Mr. Schilling more with his flat top to do the white hair, but it's good to see people around, and kind of brings back a lot of memories. Not necessarily all of them good, but at least it brings back a lot of memories. We're just glad to be here and hope everybody has a good time.
You holler when you're ready.
I've got 5, but I don't
You ready?
have a baby.
Okay. There's a lot of old memories that when you see all these people that you've kind of forgotten, but when you see their faces, a lot of the good times that we had, and there were some sad times too, but and then there was a couple outstanding things that happened. I don't know whether they're outstanding or not, but there were some things that we did that we wouldn't want our kids to do at this time. So but I'm really glad to be here, glad to see everybody, and hope everybody's having a great time.
Anybody you real surprised about seeing today?
I'm sorry?
Anybody you real surprised about seeing that you haven't seen today?
Yeah, one of them was Betty Jo Kimball. I haven't seen her, I think probably when we graduated, and really nice to see everybody. Everybody looks great. So everybody's aged except me. So that's about all I have.
Folks, can we visit and do 2 things at the same time? Visit and finish your meal. Presented by our Sergeant at Arms, Jack Doherty and Fred Stone, who were Sergeant at Arms for our senior class in 1958. Becky Lineberry Dillman was going to do the roll call. She had to leave. I don't think Becky's back yet. So I'm going to do the roll call right quick, and we'll see who's here and who's not here. Carolyn Jorent Barnett, Wayne Barnett, Vicki Harlow Bentley, Jack Bentley, don't think Vicki's hubby made it, Paul Bobbitt, Marilyn Bobbitt, Jim Music, Mrs. Olive Copeland, present, Ruby Copeland, Don Crockett, Sam Crockett, Rosemary Crockett, Jack Doherty, Donna Doherty, Becky Lineberry Dillman, Jackie Jones Dotson, Lloyd Dotson, Edith Carol Lewis Fenwick had intended to be here today. She has a very sick puppy dog, and I'm serious, it's a family member that's very ill. Wanda Hancock Giles had intended to be here today and cannot because of her husband's new pacemaker. Janie Perkins, Guy, and Larry Guy. Present. Bobby Hammond, doesn't think so, didn't see Bobby. Patty Clemens Hogan, Roger Hogan, Larry Ray Holiday, here in town. Somebody scold that rascal, he should have been here. Linda Hutzler, that was Linda Guernsey, and Paul Hutzler, class of 57, welcome. Harold Iverson, and Irene, we'll come back to you folks. Calvin Kirby, Carolyn Kirby, John Lamb, Bob Lindley, Cheryl Lindley, Jim Lindley, Carol Lindley, I know I'm going fast, sorry. Jean Love, Ron McGill, Linda McGill, Janine Sturgeon Magner, and Stan Magner, class of 56. Bev McIntosh Magnuson, no, she's here. Bobby Marshall, Kathleen Marshall, class of 57, welcome. Larry Maddox, Deanna Maddox, maybe in later. Ann Oakley McNair, Tony McNair, Connie Minton, Wanda Tolliver Minton, here, Noble Minton, Marie Stout Newland, Ronald Butch Newland, Sharon Newland, Donnie Nicholson, Mary Lou Nicholson, Sarah Luckett Opal, Jim Opal, class of Jim 57, welcome. Shirley K. Pittman, this is Shirley K. Edwards, sorry. Carl Pittman, class of 56, welcome. David Quackenbush, Larita Quackenbush, hope I pronounced that right. Paul Farrell Robbins, must be still playing volleyball. Paul Schilling, Jean Schilling, Carolyn Daly Shaner, Charlotte Kirby Smeltzer, Burl Smeltzer, present. Don Smeltzer, Fred Stone, Joyce Stone, Jim or James Stickler, Brenda Briner Stickler, class of 60, welcome, you young thing, you. Andy Tapp, Nancy Odell, Andy and Nancy. We're hoping to see Miss Jerry Trinkle walk in the door. She talked like she might try to get up here from Owensboro, Kentucky, and she still might this afternoon. She's taking care of a 92-year-old mother and said if she could get away for a few hours, she would run up and see us. Ruth Lasugi, I doubt it, but she's next door and said she might come over after a while. Shelby Walls, Carol Wells, Betty Jo Kimmel West, and Richard West, class of 7, welcome. J.R. White, Becky East White, present. How about Roy E. Wilson? Great. Carol Wilson, good. How about Roy Leon, where is he? Okay, and Jan. Great, that's roll call. We're going to have a short class meeting. Bev, where are you? Bev will kind of lead us in a very short class meeting. Put her right on the spot.
Class meetings, you know? I walk in the door, and Marie says, we have class, can you hear me? Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. We have class meeting. You know, I get stuck at these things just because 45 years ago, I think I was in charge of some class meetings. Well, that's the last class meeting I've been in charge of, except for here. But anyway, there are a couple of things we're supposed to do. Isn't this a wonderful group? No kidding. Give ourselves a proud. And I know that before we go on with these couple things here, let's just kind of get on our feet and give, who else? Marie, who helped you with all this? I know that I got 1 million emails from Marie, didn't you? Okay, and who else worked with you?
Him and her and him and him and her and her and him
Okay.
and him and her and then there and there.
I can't work with these things. Really, great big round of applause. I mean, it's been really, really good. Okay, now, I'm not going to speak. Two things she said that I'm supposed to get a little comment from you all on. Where did you want to go, Jack? Well, you never did know where to go, so just sit down here with the coach and let him help you out or something. I thought you were Fred. I thought Fred was you a while ago.
They're going to pass out stuff.
Oh, I thought you were supposed to sit down. People in my class sit down. Okay. Flower fund. Yeah, okay, here we go. Serious. Flower fund. What am I supposed to do about flower fund, Marie? Flower fund.
would like to donate to the flower.
Who did they give it to? Charlotte? Good. And Charlotte, you've always taken care of this, haven't you? You know what? In all seriousness, we do thank you for that, for taking care of it. Very, very much. It's really very thoughtful, and we all appreciate it. The money goes, if you need to would like to donate to the flower fund, Charlotte will take your money today and anytime, but today too, okay? Any questions on that? Okay, the other point of business, and then that's it for me, is all of you all, what are we going to do for the 50th and who's going to do it? For some reason, Marie says, Leave me out of that one, Bev. I've done enough. I know, don't you think we can probably coax her? She's going to want to do something.
Yeah.
But we also need some volunteers, some ideas, and so forth. I think unless somebody has an idea right this minute they'd like to share. Does anybody? Okay. We have 5 years to plan this. However, we don't want to be doing it at the last minute, and if it's anyways near like today, it'll be just great. So we are going to need some people that would help work on that. And I think some of us that are out of town can also help. But we do need some core people from Paoli too. Is there anybody right now that'd like to volunteer to help? I promise you, you won't have to do it all on your own. Ruby, okay, that's one. Give me another one. Somebody else. Anybody else? Okay. I just went bad on the name. Oh, Jim Busey. Jim Busey. Anybody else? Bob Lindley will help. Anybody else? Ronnie McGill. Okay, Connie? Okay, Connie and Hill. All right, those will. All right, we got 5. Anybody else? Think about it. All right. Oh, who's over there? I can't see. Oh, there's no way I can see that. Donnie's not there. I'm pretty good, but I'm not too good up here. Donnie's not. Okay, I'll write these names down, and if you would like to even just do something on it, let one of them know. Is that okay? I think the meeting shall end at this point. How about that? Marie, what's the next thing? I'm done.
You're done? Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Next. What's it say next? The fellows are passing out a calendar. I'm sorry it says the year 2003. I want you to know that I worked on this thing for months, and I wanted to get it to you at Christmas time last December. It just didn't happen. And I want to apologize right now if your name is not on there. We tried diligently to get everybody's birthday, wedding anniversaries, etc. So if you're not there, please accept our deepest apologies. We tried to find everybody. There's a little scratch pad if you want to take some notes today. And now, what does it say next? Remembering deceased classmates, thoughts by Larry Maddox. Larry, would you come up?
I'm living in Griffin, Georgia now, so hey, everybody. Hey. We say hey in the South. That's H-E-Y, hey. I want to share a couple of things with you before we think about the deceased members of our class. A man walks into a restaurant with a full-grown ostrich behind him, and as he sits, the waitress comes over and asks for their order. The man says, "I'll have a hamburger, fries, and a Coke," and turns to the ostrich and says, "What's yours?" "I'll have the same," says the ostrich. Short time later, the waitress returns with the order. "That'll be $6.40, please." And the man reaches into his pocket, pulls out the exact change for payment. And the next day, the man and the ostrich come to the restaurant again. The man says, "I'll have a hamburger, fries, and a Coke." The ostrich says, "I'll have the same." Once again, the man reaches into his pocket, pays with exact change. This becomes a routine until late one evening. The two enter again. The usual asks the waitress. He says, "No, this is Friday night, so I'll have steak, baked potato, and a salad," the man says. "For me," says the ostrich. Short time later, the waitress comes with the order and says, "That'll be $12.62. Again, the man pulls out exact change out of his pocket, places it on the table. The waitress can't hold back her curiosity any longer. "Excuse me, sir, how do you manage to always come up with the exact change out of your pocket every time?" "Well," the man says, "several years ago I was cleaning the attic. I found an old lamp. When I rubbed it, a genie appeared and offered me 2 wishes. My first wish was that if I ever had to pay for anything, I could just put my hand in my pocket. The right amount of money would always be there." "That's brilliant," the waitress says. "Most people would wish for $1 million or something, but you'll always be as rich as you want to be for as long as you live." "That's right. Whether it's a gallon of milk or a Rolls Royce, the exact money's always there," the man says. The waitress asks, "One other thing, sir. What's with the ostrich?" The man sighs and answers, My second wish was for a tall chick who agrees with everything I say. Now, something more befitting our age, an 80-year-old couple is having trouble remembering things. Sounds like some of us last night and today. Huh? So they go to the doctor and make sure nothing's wrong. After an exam, the doctor says, you're physically okay, but you guys might want to start writing down notes to help you remember things. Well, that night they were watching TV when the old man gets up from his chair and his wife says, where are you going? He says, I'm going to the kitchen to get a glass of water. She says, will you get me some vanilla ice cream? He says, all right. She says, don't you think you ought to write it down? He says, I don't have to write it down, vanilla ice cream. She says, and could I have strawberries and whipped cream? He says, all right. Well, don't you think you ought to write this down? No, I don't have to write it down, vanilla ice cream, strawberries and whipped cream. 20 minutes later, he walks in, hands her a plate of bacon and eggs. And she says, where's the toast? I figure somebody would say that's not funny. I've really enjoyed last night. I had a great time at the table, and J.R. and Becky White right across the table from us, we all slept very well last night. And the Bible says that laughter makes good like a medicine. Well, we laughed a lot last night, and it was great. And it's been great today. And just to see former teachers and not only faculty members, but administrators, Paul Schilling here, this is just wonderful. And it's just hard to imagine that 45 years have gone by this quickly. When I started thinking about how many of our classmates are not with us anymore, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to me that we have an inordinately high number of deceased classmates for the size of our class. Am I missing something here? I mean, 19, that's a lot of people out of, I think the paper over there said 88. I was thinking we had 84 for some reason. Was it 88? Is that the correct number? Anyway, in the 80s someplace. But almost a fourth of us are gone. I tried to get some information on some of our classmates that have predeceased us. And not too many of us know much about the rest of us that aren't here. First name on the list is Joni Reister. She did not graduate with us, but she's on the list, and we count her as our classmate. And I still remember singing Stairway to the Stars as sophomores at the prom, as we had the responsibility for entertainment. Charlie Hooten. I remember Charlie every time I'd see him walking down the hallway between classes or whatever. The thing I remember about Charlie was he was always smiling. He was always, he never changed. Charlie was always impressed me as someone that never changed. Julie Perkins Kimmel. All I remember was one beautiful girl. And Wayne Coble. Wayne was another one that was rather quiet as a classmate, but yet he was always there, always friendly, always had a smile. Linda Phillips. I guess she was, as far as I know, the second of our classmates to die in a head-on collision from a drunk driver, either on the way to or from Indiana University in Bloomington. Beverly Atkins. I believe Beverly was our first death, am I right? From leukemia. And you know, most of us in the class probably weren't even aware that Beverly was sick. And she stuck with the stuff, and she did her coursework, and she graduated with all of us. And then for her to die so quickly after graduation. Ronnie Patton. I remember Ronnie. I remember playing baseball with Ronnie. Gary McBride, the same thing, playing baseball with Gary. Sandra Combs, sweet girl. Clint Baker, this quiet Clint, that boy, at times he could get it done. And Don Crecelius, Don and Jan, I was pastoring a church in Cincinnati, and they came for one of the morning worship services on a Sunday morning and surprised me as they lived outside of Cincinnati a ways. And then to learn of Don's death was a great shock to me. Max Manship, tall, thin Max. Still remember Max so well. Dale Vest. Got a story about Dale Vest. I was walking down the street in Athens, Greece. I was in the Navy and on shore leave at the time, and these Army guys walked by and Navy guys walked by facing each other, and I was half paying attention what was going on, and this Army guy bumped into me, and as I turned around, he had his fist raised, ready to let me have it square in the mouth because I was Navy and he was Army. And I said, Dale? And he said, Larry? And I came that close from probably losing 3 or 4 teeth from Dale Vest. It is a small world we live in. Gerald Wells, little lefty. Remember him well, don't you, Coach? He wasn't very strong, he wasn't very big, but he had a big heart. And Gerald was a good friend of mine. Larry Kellums. I've got a story about Larry. He lived up the hill from me, and when we were way down in the elementary grades, Larry was much bigger than I was, and he would wait for me every day on the way home from school. And I would go home with a cut lip or a bloody nose or something almost every day. And finally one day I got so tired of that, I said, today he may kill me, but I'm going to get him first. And I popped him in the nose and blood flew everywhere, and he goes and tells his mother, and his mother comes down to my mother, and I wind up getting whatever. But after that, Larry Kellums and I were the best of friends. And Shirley Lashbrooks, who of us does not remember Shirley? Dolores Flick Newland. Dolores, very sweet girl. Phyllis Stroud Newland. And Bob Walton. All classmates, some of us were close friends with them, and they're gone. It hardly seems possible that 19 of us are gone. And we want to remember them today. And I think just to remind ourselves that time is passing. I said to Marie when she's sending out all these emails, I said, this seems like a lot of effort for 45 years. Why not do it really, really big for the 50th? And she said, we may not be here 5 more years. You know what? With 19 of us gone, that's true. But it's my privilege to just read this list and make a few personal comments. And some of you, if we had the time, could probably share some more personal information about each of these. But we miss them terribly, and we're going to have a prayer in their memory and pray for their families, and Patty Clemens is going to come and lead us in that prayer.
Let's bow our heads, please. Oh, Father, we come before your throne of grace today, just thanking and praising you for the gifts that you give us, and especially for the gifts of friendship and the gifts of memories. Father, life is so precious, and these that have left us were precious to us. May throughout this day that follows, may we cherish everyone that's here, cherish the memories that we have from the past with them. Help us to make precious memories today so that we can come away from here not just remembering those who are lost, but remembering those that we were able to be with today in friendship and in love. Thank you, Father, for getting us all safely here. Grant us the privilege of being safely home, and help us just to have the good time and the rich time that you want us to have. In Jesus' name, amen.
Red Stone, come forward, please. For those of you that are giving me entirely too many accolades, I want to tell you that it would not have been possible without this guy. Fred is also an email and a computer, computer filler. But can I tell what you have planned for the next week or month, or you want to tell it? Or this man paddles his own canoe.
It's not there.
And he's going to be gone on a trip, and as I understand it, alone. Is that right, George? He's not going this time. And I'm sure that he is going to...
You're not going to go this time. I didn't give you one.
He's got to truck along many, many miles, as I understand it, and we don't want you to come back and not know how many miles you went, so that is for you. Thank you for your help. And I have 2 or 3 things to read, and then I'll turn it back over to you, Fred, for your part. This is from Sam Crockett. It's to the class of '58. During a time like this, we realize how much our friends really mean to us. Your expression of sympathy will always be remembered in memory of Carrie Crockett. And on the inside, it reads, "On behalf of my family, we would like to thank everyone for the beautiful ivy planter sent in memory of my mother, Carrie Crockett. At difficult times like these, friendship eases the burdens, and we appreciate your thoughtfulness. God bless Sam and Rosemary Crockett and family." And one other to read. Where did it go? By the way, this memory book that Larry was looking at, this can be passed around. It has pictures of those classmates inside. Ron McGill, where are you? Ronnie and Linda were the first ones to sign in this morning. You get first place. A certificate of appreciation is hereby awarded to Fred Stone for his help. A certificate of attendance is hereby awarded to Andy Taff. Where is Andy Taff? Right in front of me. If you were a student of Mr. Taft's, whether coaching or driver's ed or whatever, would you stand up? If you were a student of Mr. Taft, would you stand? Look at that. If you were a student of Andy Taft. Thank you. A certificate of attendance is hereby awarded to Mrs. Olive Copeland for her personal appearance here today. Where is Mrs. Copeland? She had to leave? Well, we were going to do the same thing for her. If you were her student, would you please stand? Mr. Harold Iverson for his personal appearance here today at the 45th reunion. If you were a student of Mr. Iverson's, would you stand with him, please, as he gets his certificate? Ron, would you hand that to Mr. Iverson? Thank you. We certainly appreciate you folks coming out, you teachers. Ruth Wasugi she's promised me twice that she would come over. She's next door at her reunion. Jerry Trinkle may or may not. Jim Cuddy, we found Mr. Cuddy, did I tell you? He is in Bloomington, Indiana. I've talked to him a couple times. He was going to try to get here today. He said it's just impossible to be 2 places at one time. So he sends his best regards to all of you. Mr. Paul Schilling. If you were a student under Mr. Paul Schilling, would you stand? If you were a teacher under Mr. Paul Schilling, would you stand? That should be everyone in the room. Thank you. Thank you so much.
If you were ever disciplined by me, would you please stand?
Oh, we got one. Look, Larry's standing. All right. That was perfect. We appreciate that, yes. Or should have been. Okay, if you should have been disciplined. Oh, we have some fun, don't we? Not very good here with notes. If you have attended, as far as you know, every reunion that this class has ever had, would you stand? If you think you've been to every one. Wow, isn't that wonderful? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. No. 15. Wonderful. Let's give these people a that is great. That is great. Now we could go through who came the farthest miles and all that sort of thing. I think I'll let maybe Fred take over that part of it. Where did he go?
I'm just learning that I'm supposed to do this.
Now, don't you blame me. I told you ahead of time.
I think what we'll do is we'll just start over here, and we'll have each class member stand up and tell a little bit about yourself and your spouse and what you do, where you live, you know, that sort of thing. So we'll start right there. Patty Hogan.
Okay. Well, you know who I am. And I know most of you know my husband, Roger, because he's been to several of these reunions.
Talk loud.
I have to yell. Joyce, help me here. We live in the Minneapolis area. We live in Savage, Minnesota. We've lived there for several years, although we have traveled around the country with Roger's job. We've been in several different areas of the country. Started out our life living in Lewiston, Maine, which is where our first daughter was born. We have 3 children, all grown and married. We have 8 grandchildren, and I'm married to a wonderful man. I am very, very fortunate. He didn't come from Paoli. That's the only thing I have against him. But other than that, he's just fine.
What about we have them come here?
Yeah, they're going to have to come up because
We're
they
gonna
can't
have-
hear you on the other side.
That'll work.
Hi, I'm Victoria Harlow Bentley right now. I was Victoria Napier the last time I was at the class reunion. And since that time I got married to Jack Bentley. Jack was from Ohio, so since that I've moved to Ohio. I live in southeastern Ohio down near Chillicothe, the first capital of Ohio. And you've always heard that once you get to be 60, you go back to your childhood. So I move out in the country, and it's pretty remote, so I feel like I've gone back to my childhood. It's almost as far out of town as what we lived whenever I came to school at Paoli. 4 children, 3 children, 4 grandchildren. And my spouse has 3 children, and I don't know how many grandchildren he has, but we have a house full when they all come home. And I'm so happy to be here this year and hope to see you all on the 50th. Thank you.
I am Janie Merkins Guy, and I moved to South Bend right after high school. I guess I had to move to South Bend to find my husband, Larry, so it was well worth moving up there and away from here, in spite of being away from everybody. Don't get down here often, so it's great to see everybody. I'm hoping to spend a lot of time just reacquainting myself a little bit with everybody. Larry and I have 3 children. I have 6 grandchildren, and 2 of our children live in South Bend, and 1 lives in Fort Wayne, so it's kind of convenient we get to see them often, and that's great. It was great to open up and see Dad's picture here today, and I want you all to know that my mother is doing very well. She is in a nursing home here that we're going to be visiting later, but it's really good to be here and good to see everybody.
Don Nicholson, I live in New Orleans, Indiana. I've been married to my wife, Mary Lou, for 41 years. We've lived in our same house, present location, for nearly 40 years. We have 2 children. Our oldest son works about half a mile from the Pentagon. He's an office manager for the Army-Navy Country Club. Our youngest son, Dan, is married. He lives in Needmore. He works at Bloomington for Kroger. He's a meat manager for the Walnut Street store in Bloomington.
I'm Paul Bobbitt, and I lived in Logansport for about 35 years, and I'm getting ready to retire in February. and moving back to the home place, building a retirement home. And I think this is a great crowd of people. We've served our portion of the world in a good way. And I think it's time to turn it over to somebody else. That's all.
This is another one. Good boy. Good boy. Not only a good ball player, but a good man. I appreciate that.
Get a good first time.
Hey!
Ruby, you need to step. Let's see.
Lady back there in the white needs to come over a little bit. Yeah, you're. Okay, here we go. Go take 3 shots and we'll change cameras, take 3 more. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2. Again, hold it. And again, hold it. Don't move. $11. Pictures are $11
But there's 20 gone, so that's makes 6 dozen. Probably about 20 doesn't make
And I think that's why they're she lives in San She's 5 years old. But I was just about to
Spring Mill from 10:30 to 11:30, as I understand it, tomorrow. Larry Maddox will give a devotional. We've got several things for worship in the morning. Okay. Tomorrow noon for the picnic. Another show of hands. Now this one's basically a freebie. This is Kentucky Fried Chicken. We're going to provide that for you, and we'll have our last hurrah at Spring Mill for a picnic. Okay. What have I forgotten, if anything?
I want to read these names, make sure I got everybody that paid me.
Vicki wants to read the names of everyone that paid, what, $11 for a picture?
Shaner, Jean Love, Shirley Pittman, Jim Lindley, Linda Hutzler, David Quackenbush, Ruby Wall.
Okay, this is Ron's going to lead off, and then we'll just share the mic. You will have to come up here because the cord's not that long. But and it doesn't matter if you're class of 58 or 56 or 57. Come on up if you want to share something.
I already told Marie this story a few minutes ago.
Keep it clean.
It's pretty clean. We were sitting around the coffee shop the other morning, and one of these little punk kids came in and had earrings, nose rings, lip rings, and I don't know where else they had rings, places you couldn't see. So we kind of making fun of him, looked at him and said, look at that little punk, isn't that really great? And I kind of looked at him and I said, you know, we can do something he can't do. And everybody said, what's that? And I said, we can go get us a jowl ring. And there's probably room for more than 1 or 2 rings, most of them. This has really been great that everybody showed up today, my gosh. And, Mr. Schilling and Mr. Iverson, and saw Ruth out there a minute ago, Mr. Copeland, and pardon me? Oh yeah, Coach Tabb. He's gone. Looking at his seat there, but it's gone. Like it was on the bench. There wasn't any seat. Bev said something about taking volunteers for the 50th. And I said, you better wait and see who's still alive in 5 years so we can have it. So, that's not funny. Okay, I'm done. Who wants this thing?
And, Paul Schilling wanted to know if anybody here he had disciplined. I stood up.
We know.
You know. I had gone to boot camp at Great Lakes between my junior and senior years of high school. Came back to school 2 weeks late, and it was questionable whether he was going to permit me to go to class or not. And then finally he permitted me to go to class when he understood what the details were, that the military had a hold of him, wouldn't let me go. And I hadn't any more than gotten class, and I was in Francis Graybill's class, and I had been living, you may remember this, I had been living for 10 weeks in a yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am environment. And Miss Graybill said something to me, and I responded and I said, yes ma'am. And she thought I was being smart with her, and she sent me to Mr. Schilling's office. And he really didn't know what to do with that situation when he discovered what really it was all about. So I got off light, and I got to go back. But anyway, I was disciplined, so I thought I'd share that with you.
Once in a while at the grocery store, Marie and I run into each other, and we have everybody lined up behind us in the frozen food counter while we catch up. Carl and I have been married since 1959, and we've had a lot of fun adventures. Lived in Indiana most of the time, but a couple of stints in Hong Kong, where we had some interesting experiences while he was working over there. It is great to see everybody here, and you know, we've all retained something of what we were when we were seniors in 1958. So it's just really great to identify all of you and to hear what you've been doing in the meantime. Personally, I sort of been all the way around the circle with what I've done. I was a stay-at-home mom for a number of years till our daughter was about junior high age, and then I decided to embark on a career, and then after I'd kind of reached some of my goals, then I got my degree from IU, so I sort of did it backwards maybe. Some interesting jobs, worked in mergers and acquisitions, but the job can't take the place of family, so as my mother needed more of my time, I let the career go so I could keep up with grandkids and what mother needed. At this point, Carl has an engineering consulting business, and I sort of do backup for him as well as take care of whatever else needs to be done. It's, as I say, we've sort of gone the full circle because I'm staying home, love it. We're sort of 24/7 home people now, and that's really, it's the most satisfying lifestyle I think we've had out of the 40-some years that we've been together. But it is great to see everybody.
Talking, I'll start, and Jim can tell me to stop. I went to Earlham, and then Tony and I were married 40-some odd years ago. Ran around all over the country. We're insurance gypsies, and then he was transferred to Northeast Indiana. We plan to be in Fort Wayne 7 years to get our kids through high school. Here it is 20-some odd years, and we're still there. The kids are through high school, college, and we even have grandchildren, which are very exciting to us. Our biggest news right now is our daughter finally got her PhD last month. She's a professor at Hanover College. Tony's a realtor. I'm a tax preparer with H&R Block Premium. I still do volunteer work for the radio reading service which is a service for blind and print handicapped persons. We read the newspaper twice a day and other publications. Fort Wayne is one of the few cities in the country who still has 2 daily newspapers, so we read the newspaper twice a day. Tony is a realtor that has started a new aspect of real estate. He does video tours. Some of them are on the web, some of them are not. But anyway, we have a great time, and I'm here to tell you, Northeast Indiana is not like Southern Indiana. It is wonderful to see the hills, and I'm glad you've kept them for us.
I forget things like that. And I guess during that time we have 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren. We have 1 daughter and 2 grandchildren who live in Moorhead, Minnesota. And we lived in Fargo, North Dakota, which is just across the river from Moorhead, Minnesota, for 24 years while I taught at North Dakota State. Our other daughter and 2 granddaughters are in Maryland. Before I went to North Dakota State, I spent some time in Connecticut, some time in the Navy, and some time at Purdue, quite a bit of time at Purdue, got 3 degrees there. As I said, I taught at North Dakota State for 24 years, and just about a year ago I decided to retire. So I retired officially from the university, which doesn't mean a darn thing, but I did it anyway, and took a job at Ames, Iowa with a consulting engineering firm. So I'm spending some time there. Last fall I did do a little teaching in at Iowa State University. I guess I was sorry that Jim Cuddy couldn't make it here. He was, we tried to get him and thought he was going to make it, and I was sorry he didn't because he influenced me to run. And I run every day. For over 24 years. I've run 35 marathons, including Boston and London. And so I was sorry Jim wasn't here to realize that he did influence me that way. I guess, as I said, a lot has happened in the past 45 years, but that's probably enough to talk to. Jim, you...
They know my story now. Well, I'm Jim Busy. I've lived here in Paoli all my life except for 4 years in service. And got 3 kids, 3 grandkids, and there one son is in Big Sky, Montana. He works for an outfitter there. They give trail rides and hunting trips up in the mountains and everything. He loves every bit of it. He called me one day this week and he said, "Guess what I'm doing?" He said, "I'm picking mushrooms." He said he found 4 mushrooms. He didn't know they grew out there. And he said, "That's going to be enough for 2 mushroom sandwiches." I said, "I've got to go tonight and get me some flour because I don't have no flour." I've been retired with disability since 1985. And other than that, I guess everything's going fine.
Jim keeps us all informed on what's going on up here. And he's the go-to guy. If you need to know anything about what people up there on here,
I'll go ask Gordon Lamb.
Go,
She don't
baby.
say anything. She don't be quiet.
I don't talk in front of crowds. I talk well one-on-one, but I don't talk very well in crowds. Now, my husband said he was kicked by a heifer, but he forgot to tell people it wasn't me. He's got one coming. I am still married to the same man, 45 years. We have three children, two girls and a boy. 6 grandchildren, 16 to 4 and a half, 1 girl, naturally 1 girl. And he's retired and So I've retired with him. Not that I did anything anyway. That's just about all. We've lived here most of our life. Maybe 7 years that we didn't live here, but we've lived here most of our life. And our children live close, so we're lucky. We're blessed. Okay?
About everybody knows me, Ruby Copeland, and I feel at home in a crowd like this because normally when I go out somewhere, if Jim and Brenda aren't there, I'm the only white-headed woman around, and they pick me out in a gym full of people. Went to graduation last week, and the lady told me she was looking for me to come in, and she said she told her daughter, well, just keep looking for the white head. Either that or there's an awful lot of people dying around here. That's not a nice joke either, is it? I said I died till I was 50 and then I quit. But I was married for 14 years, been divorced for more than twice that long. You want to see my ex, I don't know whether they've left downstairs or not, but he was downstairs earlier. We had 5 children, 3 boys and 2 girls, have 9 grandchildren. And I stayed at home, and it was enjoyable when the children were little. And I said I thought I was old when I started working down at the sheriff's office at 37. And the years have gone by, and it's now been 25 years. And I've enjoyed that, working for the people in Orange County and all that come back. I mean, it's always so good to see people when they come back to Paoli. We never forget you. We never forget you. And it's been really good seeing everyone. And they're going to kick me out of jail, I hope, next year, in the 26th year. And I live right across the street from it. Unfortunately, I don't know whether one of us is going to have to move. Either me or the jail, because it's not really a pleasant sight to look out your back door and see your workplace. But they do have a nice facility. It's been enjoyable working there. And I certainly hope to enjoy retirement and getting to travel a little bit. And I'll say a little bit about Shelby. She's still staying active. She's suffering from a bad knee right now. May have to have surgery in a short time. She still keeps active. She plays in church, plays for weddings, still playing for funerals, and that is an enjoyment for her, or if you can call it that. She feels like it's a service that she can do for people and keep in contact with people. And we just love the Lord, and I praise God that all of you are here and miss the ones that aren't.
Now, in all this pleasantry, I'm going to be the bad cop here. When we took your money at the door, we got so rushed and befuddled that we didn't collect any gratuity, and it turns out...
Hello, I'm Becky White. I'm married to J.R. White for about 46 years. I finished my last year of school married, which I've never really regretted, except maybe a time or two along the way. We live in New Albany. We have 3 children of our own. A girl lives in New Jersey with 3 children, and 2 sons that live in New Albany, not too far from us. We've been foster parents through the years of 13 children. Some we see occasionally, some we do not see at all. We have a total of 9 grandchildren, 1 which is deceased. At this time, I'm very active in, well, they call me a professional volunteer. If you want anything done, call Becky. And everyone seems to have my number. I'm active in our church. I'm a 11th hour volunteer with the hospice nurse. I've taken a few trips lately. I've been to Ireland for a month, which was the most overwhelming trip. That was a fun thing. I went to Romania in November. That was a missions trip. That was sad, but very, very rewarding. You come back just awesomely filled and realize that you don't need all the stuff that we seem to accumulate. Seems like God's kind of worked in my life, because now I've been invited to go to Nigeria in September. It doesn't look possible right now, but possibly in the near future. JR's retired from Roman Haas Chemical. He spends a lot of time down at Patoka Lake, which we have a property down there. And he does a lot of fishing and hunting, and he's my professional cook. I don't have to worry about cooking or cleaning when he's around, so that makes it nice. And he's really good. In fact, I went to New Jersey for 3 weeks recently, and I couldn't make pancakes, and I couldn't make a can of chicken noodle soup. Papa knows how to do it all. So it's fun to have a husband that's retired. And that's about all for me. Thank you.
I'm getting up very fast.
We don't like to talk in front of crowds.
I'm Don Smelser, and I'm sure glad to see everybody here today. I'm glad we had such a good turnout. A lot of good-looking people here I haven't seen for years. Linda being one of them. I'm a graduate of Purdue University, but I just have 1 degree. I heard another guy first, 3. But anyway, I'm a registered professional engineer also. And I've worked for the state highway for 35 years, and I'm now the county highway engineer in Orange County. This has basically been my home all my life. And I'll be glad. I've talked to some that says they're coming back to Orange County within the next year or so. It's been out away from Orange County, and they're coming back, and that's really good. I'm married. I have 3 children, 5 grandchildren, and I haven't heard anybody say this. I have a great-grandchild. I'm terribly old. My joints tell me that every day. It was really good to see everybody. And whoever's next, JR, right?
Oh, it's good to see all of you beautiful people. Some of you I haven't seen for years. Some of you I see maybe once a year. And when we get home, you're going to fix supper tomorrow night. Well, as Becky said, I met Becky in 1956 or 57, and we were playing a show in Dipity, Indiana. And we went together about a year. We decided to get married, and I was back and forth to Nashville all the time. And I told her, I said, well, you come back home to Peel and you graduate with the class of 58. Well, I go ahead and pursue the music. And we did that for about 5 years. And it got rough trying to raise a family out there on the road. So I went to work for Rowan House Chemical Company in Louisville, Kentucky. Spent 33 years with them, retired. At age 60, took an early retirement. And life's just been great. We've got our children, our grandchildren, and we've had the Lord in our life and hundreds of friends. So what else could you ask for? So it's been good seeing you all, talking to you, and we hope to see you next year. I'm trying to get Marie to do this every year or 2, instead of 5 years. Okay? Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Jim and I, don't get me started. Jim and I had been married for 46 years against all the odds. We have 4 children, 3 boys, 1 girl. All 4 are very successful. We live in Indianapolis area on the east side of town. Been there about 18 years in this house. Jim retired. How long have you been retired, Jim? Jim's been retired 10 years. I've been retired 6 years. And the day I came home and told him I'd turned in my resignation, he said, oh my God, we're going to have to start buying more toilet paper. Good seeing everybody, and hope we all make it to the 50.
I'm Gene Love. I'm married to Jenny Hendricks. We've been married 44 years. I had 3 children, got 10 grandchildren, and I still work 7 days a week, work for Ford Motor Company. I do prototype work for them. So right now we're still pretty busy. It was a pleasure to see everybody this time. It's been 5 years since I was at a reunion before. I've been to Marie's house about, the last 3 years. A group of us from around central Indiana get together up there and just have a good time. Maybe somebody from down here can come on up and see us if she has it again. If not, we'll have it maybe in Greenwood. I live in Greenwood, Indiana. Been in the Indianapolis area ever since I got out of the service, and we got married in '59.
Hello, I'm Noble Minton. I still live here in Paola. I work at Paoli Incorporated. I have 3 children and 6 grandchildren. They all live around close, and I really enjoy seeing everybody.
Well, I'm Connie Minton, and Wanda and I have been married for 45 years. We have 8 grandchildren. We have 1 great-grandbaby, and they're the most wonderful thing you ever had, so you can spoil them to death, send them home. And I've still got a parts store, Jim Hayworth myself, down on West Main here in Paola. We've been there 27 years, and they want to know how we get along as partners all that time, you know, not. And I said, well, when I'm here, I do what I want to, and he's there, he does what he wants to. That way we don't get in no trouble, but we have any major decisions or something, we both make the decision, or most of the time our wives make the decision for us. But I have kind of semi-retired. I only work 48 hours this week. I retired when I was 62, and I turned it over to Wanda. But now she'll be able to retire maybe next year, and then she'll turn it back over to me, and we'll just get along best we can. But I just want to tell you people here that in 1974, I accepted Jesus Christ as my Savior. And everything's not been perfect since that time, but everything's been a lot better. And I know where I'm going today. If I was to happen to go out here and get run over by a car or something, I know that I'm going to be in heaven with my mother and other people. And I'm sure some of you people here are going to do the same thing. I know most of you probably accepted Christ, but if you have not, I think that you ought to think, at your age and my age, you ought to think more about heaven than you do earth, you know. So I just leave that with you guys. I love you, everyone, and I'm glad all these people turned out, and I just appreciate the class of '58. I didn't study like I should have, but when I was in school, but I appreciate the class of '58, and I appreciate everything that Marie's done, and Fred, and anyone else that had anything to do with it. So I love you all. Thank you.
My name's Don Crockett. I'm sure all of you remember. I've been in business in town for 43 years. I've been on the square for 43 years, barbershop. Married Phyllis Trinkle. We have 2 daughters. She runs a florist business here in town I think she's been in the business 26 years. We have 4 grandkids. They all live here in town. One of the daughters teaches English here in high school, and the other works at the bank in Orleans. We're having fun with our grandkids right now. I'm glad to see you all. Hope you all can get back in 5 more years. Thank you.
As a fellow business person, I want to say something about Don. He has a barber shop, and his busiest day is a Saturday, correct? And he, for once, came down to join it. Let's give this guy a hand, because he could be up there cutting hair and making a buck or two. And he decided. Also, we want to thank Phyllis and Donnie for the flowers that are on the tables, the bud vases, and there are some beautiful arrangements that she also donated, or he did, and also the red roses for the deceased classmates, all are courtesy of Rocket. So thank you very much.
It don't seem like 45 years till you kneel down in front of that group for that picture up there. Oh, David Qualkenbush. And 45 years don't seem like too long till you kneel down on that courtyard trying to take that picture. I'll tell you. Now then it seems like 45 years. I left Paoli, actually, when we graduated. I went in the military 9 days after we graduated. I came back in 1961. Married her in 65. We left again in 68. Haven't been back since. We lived at Huntingburg. Lived in Du Bois County since 1972. Down in Du Bois County, that's where all the Catholics and we drink beer and eat chicken and do all that stuff down there and have wild wedding receptions and stuff like that. It's been a lot of fun. I don't mind coming back to Paoli, but DuBois County is it for me. We've got 2 children, 5 grandchildren, and our son, 34-year-old son, was standing before us this morning in his Coast Guard officer's uniform. Boy, looks sharp. And we just had a pretty good life, seems like. I've had 2 careers, one with the state police and one with the hospital at Jasper, and I've just had a good time. I've been very fortunate. 2 careers that I really enjoy. Nice lady over there. And that's about it. See you guys in the next year or 5 years, whenever we have the next one. Okay.
God, I forgot who it was. I forgot who it was. I had to look at my name tag. It's been so long. I'm Calvin Kirby, and married Carolyn about 39 years ago. I think I was married to her when I was born, but my brother and I had a business for 26 years. We did survey work. We still found stakes in the ground. Enjoyed it. We've got I had 2 girls, and they were adopted, and I've got 4 grandsons, and we enjoy them very much. And it has been really a lot of fun seeing everybody. And I want to thank Marie and Fred and all the people that's involved to put this on. It's just really been great. So I hope to see you again in a year or so. So everybody, have a good, God bless everybody.
This thing on? My name is Sam Crockett, and I've lived in Bloomington and worked up there since 1966. I worked for Westinghouse and ABB. Then after I retired, semi-retired from there, I've been a stone draftsman for the industry around Bloomington and Bedford. And I'm still working, so as long as my health is okay, I'll probably work till I'm 65. And I have 3 children by my first wife, and my second wife is Rosemary. I'd like for her to stand up. I'd like to... Everyone say hello to Rosemary. She has 2 children, and we've in the process of raising them, and very happy to be here today. It doesn't seem like 45 years. I was talking to someone just a moment ago. As we were lining up to have our picture taken, it reminded me of lining up at the Capitol building when we went on our senior trip. And I hope to be back in 5 years if my health holds out, and everybody have a good time.
Yeah. I'm Roy Wilson. I never did make it out of Orange County. I lived here all my life, and I married Carol about 45 years ago. And I've been working at the Pluto Corporation for about 25 years, and I got 3 more weeks to go, and then I'm going to retire and go to work for my wife, and hope it works out.
I'm Bob Lindley, and I stayed around here, of course, and most of you, of course, here knows that. And in 1965, my dad and I started Mylan Wood Products, and I'm still owning and running that today, and we employ 85 people here in Paoli, and we make furniture component parts for the kitchen cabinet industry and furniture industry and office furniture industry in Jasper. The concern is the Chinese is about to take all of our business, so with the imports, but we're still hanging on. So anyway, I'm married to the former Cheryl Pemberton, and we have 2 daughters, Jolie and Jessica. And Jessica lives in Las Vegas, and we just had our first grandson out there 8 weeks ago, and Cheryl and I are really excited about that. Jolie's still single. And if you know anybody that needs a wife, I need to get her married. I'm threatening to rent that My Big Fat Greek Wedding movie and let her watch it every day. For those of you who have seen that. So anyway, she teaches school at Jeffersonville High School, and she teaches journalism, and she just finished her 6th year there. So that's kind of what's going on. Carolyn Barnett is my bookkeeper and takes care of our money, don't you? Really well. She has me on a budget. And Ronnie McGill, his son, is my head maintenance person, and he's nothing like Ronnie. I won't go into that. So anyway, I guess that's all that we have worked various people, I'm sure, that you all know over the years and that. So I've just stayed around, and as you kind of remember, I'm kind of into this speed thing, so I have to keep working to satisfy my hobbies. And you know, I went back to drag racing after a 30-year layoff, and also drove a truck at Bonneville Salt Flats at 180 mile an hour. So, and Jim Lindley, my cousin now, he talked about the running. I think only one time in cross country I beat him, and obviously, you know, as he said, he's still running, and you can tell it by looking at his stomach, and you can see my stomach, I'm not running. I'm doing mine with the gas pedal, I guess, so that's it. So whoever's next, Beverly.
You know, as people have come up, has it hit anybody else, if we were to take a picture of our parents, if they were sitting here about the age we are right now, I mean, I can't tell you how many people have come up and I thought, oh my gosh, she looks just like her mom, or he looks just, I mean, because that was the age that our parents were when we were in high school, sort of. I mean, you know, sort of. And it's kind of amazing. I can remember your parents about as well as us, you know. Anyway, it just kind of hit me that way. Let's see. Very briefly here, I really taught school the majority of the time, and I taught at Carmel High School for a long time, and I quit up there 2000, the year 2000, and retired from teaching because my daughter, I only have one daughter, and that she lived in Florida. She married a guy from Florida. They had my first grandchild, their first daughter, and it seemed, since I could leave teaching then, I still needed to do some work, but it seemed kind of crazy, just me, to be up here and my daughter and granddaughter in Florida. And so I'm 5 minutes away. And it's, I moved down there in 2000 to Jupiter, which is right next to West Palm in the Palm Beach area. I know people come down to Florida a lot. I want you to know this is not, honestly, this is not empty talk at all. And this last winter, I've had so much coming. I work, but the house is open. It's very handy to lots of things. And I would really like for you to call when you come down to Florida and take your vacation. I'm 2 hours from Orlando. Yeah, that's right. Write that down, Jim. I mean, I'll say this, and then I'm going to be quiet, okay? I like Florida, okay? I like the water, and I like being outside and so forth. So Florida's just fine. But Florida's not home, and Florida's never going to be home. And Indiana's home, all of Indiana, and Paola is 100% home, and it is, isn't it? I mean, it really is. Lots of people here have moved away. Some of us have talked about that today. I love it when somebody from up here comes through and can either stay or have dinner or just calls and says hello. I had no idea how much it meant. People that I might not have even seen, like you all for a long time. When you leave this country and go to another one, you leave that and it means something to you. I always, you know, and it means much more than I ever thought. So please, when you come down to Florida to take your vacation, give me a call. Any of you, please, I would really like that very much. But I do like it. And my granddaughter and my grandson are just delightful, and so is my daughter. And I work, by the way, I probably work till I die, I don't know. But anyway, I work at the PGA of America, and I am back playing golf, and but I'm not on tour. So that's really pretty much my life. Thank you. And very good to see everybody.
Okay, I'm Linda Guernsey. And being in this building brings a lot of memories to me because during the war, my parents operated a coffee shop over on the other side there. And I remember these banquet halls where my dad did a lot of dinners. And I spent a lot of time, I was about 5 years old, I remember. We lived up off where 150 came in there. And they'd come in early to work and I get up and I put my pinafore on and hold it, you know, the dress is tied in the back, I mean buttoned in the back, and I hold it and I walk down Water Street and come in the back door here when I got up. And I played back there a lot. And so this building has a lot of memories for me. And one that I remember, I learned a very good lesson here too. One day, Dad said I couldn't take a little neighbor girl I played with a lot here. We both played in the back. We couldn't go to the movie. And so I decided to take matters in my own hand, as kids about 5 often do. And so I just helped myself to the cash register, got a couple quarters out, and we went over to Strand Theater. And I was having a great time till Dad came over there and yanked me out of that theater in a hurry. The other little girl got to stay and see the movie. But I had to come back, and that was a very unpleasant encounter. And so I learned a very good lesson in this building. So after graduating from high school, I went to IU, graduated with a degree in nursing. When I finished at IU, I bought a 1962 little white Nova, told my mother goodbye, packed up all my earthly belongings, and went to Omaha, Nebraska to be with my fiance, Paul Hutzler, and we married in September of that year, back at Beck Chapel at IU. After Paul left the military, we came back to northern Indiana because Dr. Schilling had offered Paul a job teaching for him. And so we came back to Griffith, Indiana, and then later on down to Carmel, and we've been there for many years. We raised 3 boys, we have 4 grandchildren, and if you happen to be at the right spot a while ago, you saw 2 of our beautiful grandchildren because their parents happen to be in the community, kind of reminiscing today too. And we still have so I thought I was going to have show and tell, but they had to go on. And we have a 28-year-old son that we would very much like to get married off because we have 4 grandchildren, and that's all they tell us we're going to get from those 2 sons. And so we have a 28-year-old son because we like to have more grandchildren because we think it's a lot of fun to be grandparents.
Bob, your daughter should have been Linda's.
See you, Marie.
I have worked as a nurse many of the years, stayed home just a little amount of time with the boys, and have done a lot of different things, really enjoyed it. Paul is semi-retired, but I'm still working full-time and enjoying it. I keep threatening, and he's probably tired of hearing me threatening to quit sometimes when you have a bad day, you know. But I just haven't made up my mind that I could give it up and stay home just yet. I don't know how long it's going to be, but maybe in 2 or 3 years I'll decide to retire.
I'm Larry Maddox. Oh boy, thank goodness for these name tags. Long-term memory's great, but short-term memory's starting to go. You know what I'm saying? That's a statement in itself. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I hear it every day. Learn a new language down there. Motisa? More iced tea, sir? Mo betta? It's not very good English, but it works. I've been married to a wonderful girl for, it'll be 45 years, Christmas Day. Don't ever get married on Christmas Day. It's not fair to anybody in the family. We have 6 children, 3 boys, 3 girls, 9 grandchildren. We just had our 9th grandchild about 2 weeks ago. And they're all perfect. And they're all as spoiled as they can be. I always felt like that the highest calling of grandparents is to spoil the grandkids. Our daughter in Lima, Ohio, she says, every time our kids are with you, it takes 6 weeks to get them back to normal. I said, great, we're doing our job. And we intend to do it well. But I've been a pastor for 37 years, and went through the Paoli school system, a very poor student. I think my class rank was pretty good my senior year. Frances Graybill insulted me, basically told me I wasn't capable of doing the work. I didn't know what she was doing then, but as reverse psychology, I determined I was going to prove her wrong. And I applied for college after I got out of the Navy, and the academic dean said I would normally place you under academic probation because of your high school scholastic record. but because of the improvement in your senior year, I'm going to accept you as a student in regular standing. I learned how to do term papers. I took typing out of a dare, which was the greatest dare I've ever taken. So thankful I took typing. Wish I'd taken shorthand. It'd been a lot easier. They probably wouldn't have let me in that class, but I'm thankful for Paoli High School, all the teachers, the people who why am I getting emotional? The people who have poured their lives into me. I will be eternally grateful. And for all of you, my classmates as well. Love you all.
John Lamb or Lindsay Lamb, as some may know. Oh, how do you put 45 years into a couple of minutes? I went to college for a while, came back, joined the Air Force. 24 years I kept in there. Married my childhood sweetheart, and 41 years ago next week. Got a 2 grandchildren, fine daughter and 2 grandchildren, that is. I went to Vietnam in '66, came back in '67, turned real gray in '68. Been that way ever since. And I was out of retired from the Air Force in '85, and I live in Orangeville, a little place not too far out from here. Right downtown Orangeville. If you blink, you're going to miss the town and me. But in my off-duty time, I work here at the hotel. So as a wife, she cooked the fine meal y'all ate today, or had a hand in it. And outside, that's not been a bad life.
Carol Wells. When we graduated from high school, I went into the service, wound up on the West Coast in California. And when I was separated from the service, I got a job at Byron Jackson Pumps. I got married, had a son and a daughter, and they gave me and my wife 2 grandsons and 4 granddaughters, and then we separated. My son has moved into town now. He is here. My daughter is in Texas. And I moved back here last year after 41 years with one company, 40 years with one company, and retired. Came back home.
Jim Stickler on Hardenberg Moore. Moved up here, finished my last 2 years in Paoli. I married a wonderful lady a couple of years behind me in school, Brenda Briner. I had 7 children with my first wife. We got 11 grandchildren, and Brenda's got a couple of grandchildren. I'm an old Navy man. Farmed for several years and then went into construction. A lot of different phases of construction. Run all around the country, finding work in that field. All down the East Coast, Arizona, all around the country. Finally hung all that up and hanging around French Lick for the last couple of years, using some of the skills in carpentry to develop some real estate and doing a little constructing now. I'm getting ready to build my first little modular log home, kind of a weekend retreat, recreational type unit. It's wonderful to finally do something at home that's really pleasurable. Look forward to going to work every day. If anyone here, my name's in the phone book, French Lick. If anyone here has a desire maybe to make a change, you need a new home, I'll show you some lots, or I'll tell you about the Lord.
I've been up here before, so. Kay and I got married December 18th, 1960, and lived around Pill until 1963, when I took a position with the Department of Natural Resources Conservation Officer. Stayed there until April the 1st, 2000. So what is that, 37 and a half years or something like that, 36 and a half years. Been retired since then. We have 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. And evidently, I didn't know it, but I guess all of our kids are either nuns or priests because we don't have any grandkids. Not that that's a prerequisite, but I don't guess we got, that may be the cause, I don't know.
What did you teach?
So, I don't know whether to be envious or not, because I keep telling them I don't want any of them little eating things running around the house. But I know I'm in a minority here, even a minority at home too. So. It's really great to be back again and be able to be back again. And hopefully we'll all be back again 5 years from now. And gosh, this is fine for everybody to be here. Great. See y'all.
I'd really just prefer to sit there and listen. But we've had an interesting life, and we have been blessed. We have 4 children. We have 8 grandchildren. Our newest one is 3 weeks old, a little baby boy named Jake. And we've lived here, there, and yonder, and we are finally back in Indiana, and we're really happy to be back. And maybe we'll see some of you more often.
My name is Carolyn Daly. I'm really happy to be here today. I was here for either our 10th or 20th class reunion. I can't remember which. My husband was a graduate of Purdue and was a registered engineer, registered surveyor. And we did come back for the one reunion. I was a little bit backward at the time, but my husband had a wonderful time that night because Calvin Kirby and he talked all evening. And so today it's nice to talk to Calvin myself. But we moved around. We were in Shelbyville and then in Mattoon, Illinois, and back to Indianapolis, and then I've been in Oil City, Pennsylvania, which is between Erie and Pittsburgh, for 33 years. I was a stay-at-home mom for 16 years and went to work as a secretary and then financial secretary, and now I'm an auditor of the township that I live in. I have 3 daughters. The oldest one graduated from Purdue and is a teacher out in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. My middle daughter graduated from Penn State, and she's a teacher down near Philadelphia. And my youngest daughter graduated from Westchester Community College down near Philadelphia, and she's a volunteer firefighter and a volunteer ambulance driver, and she works for an insurance company. It was very difficult for me to come this year because it had been so long since I had seen anybody, and you all have made me feel so welcome, and I thank you for that. But I especially thank my cousin Connie for his testimony today. His mother would be proud of him. Thank you.
I'm Carolyn Joanne Barnett. You get 2 for the price of 1. I said, Wayne, what part are you going to tell? And no one said. None. After I graduated, I went to IU, got a teaching certificate, taught at Jasper for 6 years. When Northwood opened at West Baden, I started teaching for Northwood, taught there 11 years. They invited me to go to the Michigan campus, and we moved to Michigan, stayed 12 years. Then my parents weren't very well, we moved back in 1990. And as Bob said, I'm bookkeeper at my Inn right now. When we lived in Paola, Wayne and I operated Paola Auto Mart.
When we moved to Michigan, he was a manager of an auto parts store as well. We have 3 children. The oldest, David, lives in Houston. He's a programmer. The middle one is a pharmacist. She lives in Michigan, pharmacist for Kroger at Bay City. Our youngest one, Anita, teaches 3rd grade in Springfield, Kentucky. I do appreciate the work that Marie has put into this, and Fred, and helped us local folks not have to do so much. We do appreciate that, and really enjoy all of you that come back. Even though we see those that live here a lot, it's really nice to see those from out of town. We appreciate you coming.
I'm Charlotte Smelser, and my husband and me live down 37, and I've got 3 children, Diane, Teresa, and then I've got a son, Mike. And they all live around here, so I don't have too much to tell about.
I'm Butch Newland. My wife and I have been married, I think, 39 years. Have 2 children. Both have degrees from IU. I am retired twice now, about 2 months. And I think that's about it. Thank you.
I think I'm the end. Bob Marshall, married Kathleen Kendall. We presently live in Irmo, South Carolina. Been down there for about 13 years now. Have 2 daughters. The oldest one lives in Alabama. We have a granddaughter and a grandson there. And we have our other daughter lives in Carmel. We have a grandson there. Presently work and have since I've been in South Carolina for Best Access Systems. I'm a sales representative. Cover the state of South Carolina and western North Carolina. Love the winters down there. We miss Indiana, but when I look at the weather report and see what's going on up here in the winter, and it's pretty nice when you've got a job that one day you can be in Hilton Head and the next day you can be in the Smoky Mountains. And it's a lot of fun. Good seeing y'all.
A year ago, I got a phone call came in, and we weren't home, and so they left a message on my answering device. When we came home and we listened to it, my wife and I, the gist of the message was that they were having the class of '57, and that's the year I came to Paoli. We were here for the 2 years. Class of '57 and the class of '58. The message was to invite me to the 45th reunion for last year's class, and in essence said, we know you probably can't come, but maybe if you could write a letter to us or something like that. And I looked at my wife and I said, you suppose they think I'm old and decrepit at this point? But to make a long story short, we did come last year and we had a very enjoyable visit. We've been married now. My wife is Jean and I've been married 54 years. We have 3 children. We have 8 grandchildren. They all live near us within an hour's drive. We live at Oswego, Illinois. When I left Paoli, Dr. Church, who was head of placement at Indiana University, when he invited me to go to the laboratory school as principal, and that's the reason that I left here, he guaranteed that he would place me when I finished my doctorate at a salary twice what I was getting in Paoli. I thought about that a little bit, And I needed to go on campus to finish my doctorate in education, and this, what better opportunity to go and be principal of a laboratory school and finish my doctorate and then be placed at a salary twice of what I was getting. Well, he made good on that promise. I went to Bloomington as principal of the laboratory school for 2 years, finished my doctorate, and I was then placed as superintendent of schools at Griffith, Indiana. After having been there for 5 years, I was invited to be superintendent in LaGrange, Illinois, and I was superintendent there for 17 years. And then subsequently, I retired at age 55, and I did what is known in the business as interims. This is assuming a position while one person who had been fired or left for whatever reason, and fill in on the position until a new person was hired to replace that person. I did 15 of those in about 16 years. Most of them were as director or as a business official. In other words, did the school business management. 2 of our sons are now associate superintendents for schools. One of which has a dubious honor of having worldwide notoriety the last